production.
Okay, okay. Hi everyone, GM again. I hope your day is I hope your day is going well at your end wherever you are right now. And you are welcome once again to ETHAccra's sorry, ETHAccra's workshop entitled Farcaster Miniapps and the Future of Onchain Socials. And then we have Limon. Please, I hope I'm mentioning the name well.
Limone.
Yeah,
Limone,
it's fine.
Limone.
It's
Yes.
fine. It's fine.
Limone.
Yes.
We have Limone here as our trainer. Yeah, he's going to take us through, and then I hope we enjoy. Sorry, I hope we have fun together. Without much ado, I think I'll Limone. I think you can step in.
Yeah,
Yes.
for
Sorry, I
sure.
just want to mention, I think everybody of us knows like Farcasters, like Web3 social. We want to give I know Limone from we both hack a lot, and that's why I got to know him, and I was like, hey, let me think there's a Farc is a great angle for people to also learn, and also heard there's gonna be a hackathon focused on Farcaster for African devs hosting next month in August. I think this workshop today is giving you the great foundation. So for anyone who wants to attend the hackathon next month, maybe you have a little bit how or what you can expect. But the stage is usually Mone. Feel free to um like give the workshop based how you think it's best.
Yes, yes, yes.
Amazing. Thank you so much for the invitation, first of all, and for the brief introduction. So, as Abena mentioned, like I've been like quite active and hacking around. Yeah, let me remove this. Okay, around Ethereum events happening in the world. It's been more than 3 years now. I've been to more than 20 hackathons. I've been on Farcaster for like 3 years, and I will also show you more about what's Farcaster and how does that work. And I've been building a lot on in the Farcaster ecosystem, especially in the last couple years. I'm also like running a Web3 community in Italy, in Rome actually, where we have a Web3 hub and we host the Rome hackathon every year. We do a lot of workshops, bootcamps, and developer onboarding in general. At the same time, I'm also running a studio with a couple of friends, and we are mainly focused on building Farcaster mini apps. That is the main topic of today's workshop. So I hope I will share like some useful knowledge for you to deep dive into it. So before like diving into Farcaster mini apps, let's take a step back, understanding like how and where the uh, mini apps started somehow. So if you were on Facebook or the old Twitter, there were a bunch of applications and games that uh, were built by third-party developers. So you can think of like Farmville is definitely like the most popular one, I think. Zynga Poker, Happy Aquarium. These were like very fun games to play on Facebook, and were very successful. Many people playing them. At the same time, on Twitter, there were also a bunch of applications, and these applications, instead of being games on Twitter, they were like utility. So
Hi,
you,
hi,
Shut the
yeah,
Limone.
fuck up.
Um, please,
oh,
I think
yeah.
there's a noise. I think there's a background noise in the building, and it's kind of distracting us. And then it's kind of like we can't hear what you are saying. So I
You
don't know who.
cannot
I don't
hear
know.
me.
Yeah, I don't know where the noise. There's a background noise as you keep on speaking. There's a background noise in. I think someone's mic is on mute.
Uh, can you hear me right? There's no big. I'm in my room solo, so I'm.
Yes. Please go ahead. Go ahead. I have found it. Go ahead. I've seen the
Share screen.
solution.
Share.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I heard somebody like speaking from time to time. Pa, pa, pa. Can you see my screen?
Hi. Yes, I can. Yes, I
Okay,
can see
okay,
your screen.
perfect. So yeah, I was saying that also on Twitter there were a bunch of applications that help you, sharing more content, scheduling it, analytics, all this kind of stuff. And why like these applications were successful here. So why Zynga made a huge business model and revenue out of all these games as well as all these mini apps on Twitter. It's because like they were built on top of existing social networks where there were millions of daily active users. And so like for these apps was much easier to find users and players that would use their product. And that's exactly like the same thing for mini apps that you can think on Telegram. There's also Word App, the app by WorldCoin that is supporting mini apps. Farcaster and soon also Coinbase Wallet will have mini apps as well. And why they are interesting, it's because of distribution. So the hardest part when building something in Web3 or not, it's not actually around using the tech to build it. Um, it's more around finding users. And so if you are able to launch a product, digital product inside platform with existing users, it's much easier to find these users and have them testing, giving you feedback, finding bugs, enjoying your experience. And this makes also like, faster feedback loops and faster progress on whatever you're building. Why I do think that on Farcaster mini apps are super interesting in particular. So the main problem with Facebook and Twitter mini apps back in the days is that there was a huge platform risk. So this means that at some point Facebook decided to shut down all those games and mini apps because they were getting more attention and more revenue than their own platform. And so since Facebook and Twitter are centralized platforms, they were able to shut down the APIs, rate limitations, paywalls, so any kind of things. And the result is that there's no Farmville anymore on Facebook, you know? The cool thing about Farcaster is that it's a decentralized social, so it's open and permissionless by design. There's no API keys, no gatekeepers. You can just plug in and start building. There's a rich open and social graphs, so this means that the mini apps that you can build can tap into a social feed, can tap into a user identity on the social, their follow graph, their friends, all the content that they push. Every user on Farcaster is also on-chain ready because everybody has an Ethereum wallet. This means that the
Ich bin
mini apps that
schwarz, schwul adoptiert und ich mag schwarze Menschen.
What? I didn't understand.
Please, can
Limone,
you go
can-
ahead? I don't think
Yes.
you. Yes, please, can you go ahead?
Yes, these are just people disturbing, but you can continue. Sorry.
Okay. And so like you can have on-chain actions built inside these mini apps, much easier than going on a web app, connecting your wallet and then executing a transaction. In mini apps on Farcaster, everything is so smoothly because you already have a wallet connected, you already have your profile on Farcaster with your profile picture, username, bio, and everything. And the last thing that is also very important is that the network on Farcaster, so the network of people is although is small, kind of small, because there are around 50,000 daily active users right now. Hopefully, with the new Coinbase wallets, the user size will increase. But all these people are very engaged and very influential. They have like money in their wallets that they're willing to spend and try, new experiences. And so, like, I think the best thing around Farcaster mini apps and building on Farcaster in general is that the people there are really willing to try things that are new. And so if you have any ideas, you can push them. And it's a real opportunity. This is Farmville is a mini app that we built, remixing the Farmville on Facebook, of course, so like a similar farming simulation game. And on the right, you can see some analytics. So there were in the last month 12,000 daily active users, a total opens of 4.7 million. So like every user on average open this mini app to play the game around 10 times a day, a bunch of transactions. So like even if like the user size is small, I think this is much like the type of engagement that you can get is much larger than the usual engagement and than any other the average like Web3 application gets. And so like it's a real opportunity to get some attention on whatever you're building. And there's a bunch of mini apps. So these are just some examples, but I can show you live. So if you're not familiar with Farcaster, like there's a content feed very similar to Twitter. So there are people posting short text, images, videos. And the cool thing is that within within the feed, you can see there are some special embeds. So instead of being static, previews, they are dynamic. So somebody share like this Farville link on the feed. I can click on it while I'm scrolling on my sofa, let's say, and this open the mini app. The mini app is accessible on both like the mobile app, but also on desktop. And so I'm directly into the game. What's cool is that everybody already has their identity built in. So I'm Limone, this is my profile picture on Farcaster, and these are all the users. I can also like check easily my friends because I can simply fetch data on who I'm interacting the most on Farcaster. And so you can do really a bunch of things that are much faster than the usual experience where you need to create a profile, you need to add friends. Here is already built in thanks to the Farcaster social graph. So if you go here on the left, there's a mini apps tab, and you can see your mini apps. These are the ones that you can install. Let's say you can save them in your collection. And they have a bunch of games, a bunch of Paragraph is a blog mini app where you can read articles. What's this? Yeah, Slice Shop is an e-commerce where you can buy apparel with crypto. I don't know. There's like you can build games, you can build DeFi tooling, you can build social prediction games and markets. You can build crowdfund. Like this one crowdfund has been used a lot to raise funding on community initiative, let's say. So this guy here is raising some funds to host some Farcaster events here. So I think they should give a brief understanding to everybody around how they work. And again, like the cool thing is that not only you have this list of mini apps here that you can open and do whatever, but you can discover them inside the feed. So talking about Farville again, if you go on the feed, you can see like this dynamic preview that you can click. They have like an image with some data, and you can customize it as much as you want. So the cool thing is that to use a mini app, you don't need to install it, first of all, and so this removes some friction. Secondly, you don't need to look for that explicitly. The best like discovery mechanism for a mini app is to be embedded within the feed. So if you have people sharing your link, and again, like if I type farville.farm, which is the website of Farville. Okay, why this is not rendering as a mini app now? Let me see if I type squabble.log. Okay, you see like this is another mini app we built, and this shows as a mini app embed. And so like just by people sharing your link on the feed, it helps other people that are just scrolling in the home page maybe like discover a mini app. Like I this one that I found here, or I don't know, other ones that we can find again simply by scrolling. This is another one. So the cool thing is that you can just like do stuff as much as you do on Twitter, but the difference is that you can find these mini app interactive experiences that are very cool. So how to start about building mini apps? First of all, there's docs. If you go on docs, Farcaster XYZ, there's a build mini app section. that includes all the documentation and specification that you might need. There's an SDK that you need to start using in order to have your mini app compatible with the Farcaster on both like Farcaster and the new Coinbase wallet. So everything that I'm covering today is also well detailed and described on this documentation. Second thing that I recommend everybody, we have an open source starter template. It's called Farcaster Miniapps Starter under the Builders Garden organization on GitHub. And this repository, again, it has a README, so you can, if you miss anything during the live or in the recording,
Hi.
you can check the README. Yes.
Hi, Limone. Please, I
Limone.
think we have a question. We have a question in the
Yes.
chat. And I think the question is, are the transactions on mini apps limited to specific chains?
Yeah, it's most of like the AVM chains. Let me see if I can find a detailed list, but you can do them on mainnet, Arbitrum, Optimism, Polygon, Base, Solana. You have Solana, you have Monad as well. So it's many chains. There's also Celo, by the way. Somewhere here there should be a description of all the chains supported. But yeah, I think it's more than enough chains that you need. Getting back to the workshop, this starter repository is built with the Next.js. So mini apps are web apps. First of all, they are not mobile native application. You don't need to know React native or building iOS native apps. You just need to know how to build a web app. My favorite way to do so is Next.js. And so like this template that you can clone here, it's built with Next.js, okay? And as every other Next.js project, it has an app folder, components, some context and providers that we instantiate overall the app, some React hooks, and some utilities, right? So nothing different from what you build from how you build an Next.js web application. I will start by showing you what you need to do differently, actually. So when it comes to building and using the divs, the styling, the CSS, it's all the same. Like you have also APIs. So like consider that you are building a standard web application. The main difference is around the some metadata, some HTML metadata that you need to embed in your website, and in particular, you can see this happening in the. Let me start also this. You can see this in the main root page. As you can see here, there's this frame variable defining an image URL and a button. The button has a title, some action types, it's just launch frame in this case is called, and you can specify a URL to open a splash image URL. This is what will be loading on the client when people are opening the mini app, as well as a background color for the splash. And you need to embed these metadata inside your website metadata. So if I go on farville.farm, is the Farville website, right? We go in the header where all the HTML metadata are loaded. You can see that there's this FC frame field, and this is defining a bunch of data, the image URL, the button title, everything that I was showing you, right? So this metadata is crucial to have your mini app rendering on Farcaster. And how does it work? So let's get Farville again as an example. If you go on this developers tab, you have the embed tool, and you can see that by posting farville.farm, it shows you the embed preview based on that metadata. So you can double check that you set up the version right, the image URL, the button title, everything that we are sharing and entering here will be showing on here. And this is how Farcaster is able to render the Miniapp title, the Miniapp logo, and the Miniapp content, right? So this is the first thing. On the page, root page, or whatever page you want to share on Farcaster and be making it accessible as a Miniapp, you need to specify this frame metadata. First thing. Second thing is it's called manifest. So every Miniapp has to be associated with an account that created it. So Farville, again, is being created by Builder's Garden. And so you need to create a manifest with all this data here. I mean, some is optional, some is not, but all this data, again, is data about the Miniapp that can help you being discovered on Farcaster. So again, you can have the icon URL, the home URL, the image URL, a description, some tags like the category and the stuff. And you can check, you know, like this validation is telling you if you set up these fields right. And how do you define the manifest? So you need to expose a Farcaster JSON endpoint, and this Farcaster JSON is calling a function inside lib workcast. This function is generating the manifest. So it's including all the information that I was showing. It has tags, it has button title, it has the icon URL, anything. The other thing in addition that it has, it's an account association. Account association is needed to identify who is the creator of the Miniapp for trust reason, you know, like I want to see if and I can recognize if the Farville Miniapp that I'm using is really the official one created by Builder's Garden. And you can do that by going here, creating a new manifest. You set up your domain, you set up your app name, your subtitle, description, the category. So you can use like this website to do so. Okay. And then you submit. Once you submit, it generates this manifest for you. And so this is what you need to expose under farcaster.json. Okay. And again, this is all well documented here. So publishing your app, it describes you how to set up your manifest. This is the first step, because you can even get an existing web app, whether it's in Next or not, and convert it or make it accessible as a mini app. The only thing that you need to do is setting up this manifest, okay? So all this metadata. And then another very important thing that is already done in the starter. So if you want to start from scratch with a new mini app with the starter, you are like far ahead. You know, there's a lot of things already built. Because if you go in this context folder, there's a mini app context, and this mini app context is doing one important thing. The most important thing that you can also see documented here, you know, like loading your mini app. So when your user open mini apps in Farcaster, they're showing a splash screen. And once it's ready, once your interface is ready, the splash screen will render the app. You see, like on the left, we have a splash screen. When the mini app is ready, it renders the website. And so in the documentation, you can see how you need to call this ready function. The ready function is exposed by the SDK. Okay, the SDK is called Farcaster Mini App SDK. And it has one important action. I mean, it has many actions, but this is the most important one. SDK actions ready. So whenever you call this, the mini app shows as ready. And let me show you. Yeah, so one thing about when it comes to testing mini apps is that you cannot enter here localhost. It's not supported. You need to use a tunneling service, and it's described here how to run it.
Okay. Please, I think we have another question.
What's the question?
Yes. When it says, since they are web apps, can you run the mini apps as PWA, or can they only be run inside Farcaster?
Yeah, they can also be PWA. They can, so like a mini app as a website. The website can be a PWA, and then when it's rendering inside Farcaster, it's rendering as a mini app. So it can be everything at the same time. So that's why it's very powerful, because you can have both a website, a PWA, a Farcaster mini app, and the same website can also be compatible within the Telegram ecosystem or within the Onchain ecosystem, right? So it's a web app, so as long as you make it compatible with all these different environments, you're good to go. Hope I answered the question.
Yes, I hope that's clear. Yes. Thank you.
Okay. So I was saying that to test mini apps locally, you need a tunneling services, and a tunneling services is needed to expose your local host to the public. You can use ngrok, or you can use local tunnel. There's a bunch of let's say options. So I have my tunnel. So this tunnel limone.lol is redirecting to my local host. Okay, so this is the mini app I'm running in here, and as you can see, if I hit reload, it briefly shows a splash screen, and then I'm signed in. I didn't have to sign in explicitly. It's already built in, and it already has my connected wallet. If I remove this thing here, action SDK actions ready, let's see what happens. So this keeps blank because the Farcaster client, you see, like ready, not called. Your app hasn't called ready yet. This may cause the splash screen to persist. So if you don't call ready, the mini app doesn't render. Once you did this, you're good to go. Your mini app can render. So reload. Okay. It's rendering, and that's it. It's ready. So these are the two most and required things that you need to do. Then, like, if you, we quickly go like through the repository to show you a bunch of other components that I'm using that can actually simplify your experience. So first of all, there's another context, and this context is called user context. This is actually signing in the user automatically. So to sign in the user, what do? We have this function handle sign in that is automatically called as soon as the mini app is ready. And this sign in is using the SDK. Quick quote is an authentication method, and this gets a token. Okay, this token is authenticating the user, the current user, with their Farcaster account. So what I'm doing here is calling an API endpoint, sign in, API auth sign in. And to this API endpoint, I'm sending the current FID of the user. Yeah, something that I didn't show you is the context, and I will get to it quickly. But to sign in a user, what I'm doing is sending their FIDs, their Farcaster ID, and then sending the token. This is just an optional, is in case you want to track who referred the user, but it's not very important in this use case. So what's inside this context? Okay, like we have the context for the current user. Let me show you what's inside the context. So if we log this on the console, we can see there's a bunch of interesting things. Context object. It has like some client details, so you can check the client FID 9152. It's the Farcaster client. It has the platform type, so this is web. If I'm using Farcaster from mobile, it would have said mobile. It can check if I add the mini app, and as you noticed here, when I load the mini app, it's automatically asking me to, not anymore here because I rejected, but it's asking you to add the mini app and save it, right? Another interesting thing on the context is the user. So I can check the currently connected user. It's Limone. This is my Farcaster ID. This is my profile picture, and this is my username. So I can have all the user information. So once I get the token, what do? I call this API out sign in, and this is authenticating. So it's just verifying that the user is connected, is actually really that user. So it's doing a verification of this token, and from the token we extract the FID. If you go on authenticating users, there's a whole section around how to use Quicode, using session tokens. So like it's very easy. It also describes you how to validate the token. So everything that I did in this mini app, if you didn't understand like the template, how it's built, whatever, it's all documented like step by step in their official documentation. Okay. So this user context is already authenticating the user for you. You don't need to bother about it. And it's also, rendering the user information. So if you go on the home page, you can see the welcome. You can see the address of the user, and the address is fetched just through WAGMI. So we have a mini app wallet provider that is using the mini app connector from the Farcaster mini app WAGMI connector file SDK. So this is you can just use WAGMI inside your mini app, so that I'm sure many of you are already familiar with it and how you can fetch the user address or execute transactions or read the user balance. It's the same thing. So every user has an address and you can use it with WAGMI. Then again, like there's this hook that I'm using. It's called use user, and it's fetching the user data. The user data is coming from the authentication logic I was showing you earlier. So user, as you can see, it has like some data. And this data is actually coming from Neinar. Neinar is another like key piece when it comes to building on Farcaster. It's definitely like my go-to API to read like Farcaster user information. You can read the feed, the channels, reactions. You can read how many followers I have, who are my most relevant followers. You can read anything from the Farcaster, like data that you have on that you have online. You can read it through Neinar, and you can serve it to your mini app. So this data here is coming from Neinar, and how is it coming? So if you see here, in the sign in, there's a user method, user variable that is calling fetch user. Fetch user is calling the Neinar API. Okay, which endpoint?
Limone.
Yes.
So Limone, someone has a question. It's like, if you're able to drop the repo link.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you.
Let me show you. Yeah, this on Neinar we can try it out. So if you pass like my user FID, you can check all my information. It's Limone, my FID, my profile, all the channels I created, all my information on Farcaster. You can even fetch all my addresses, the one that I connected and verified, right? So it's very powerful. But I can also check who are my relevant followers, let's say. So target FID, and yeah, I think this is just returning test data. But basically, like you can read information about anybody that is following me, right? For 461, maybe that's why. Yeah, I don't know. This is and it's implemented like here as in a simple way. So you need an API key, and you can get it for free on their website. You can fetch the user information as long as any other information around it. So this is how I'm also showing the user data on this simple repository. Another cool thing about Farcaster mini apps is that you can send notifications to users. So as you can see here, Farville is sending me a bunch of notifications. This mini app is sending me other notifications. Grieve, it's sending me notifications. So this is a very important part when building mini apps, to send notification to your users to have them coming back. How can you send notifications? So whenever somebody registers your mini app, whenever somebody saves your mini app, you have this webhook, API/webhook, that you define here. Like if you go back on the manifest, you can see that we have a webhook URL This webhook URL is called by the Farcaster client to send you the user notification details whenever they save your mini app. So if they save my mini app, I receive the user notification details and I can use those notification details to send them a notification. So what happens when I add the mini app here? So the frame added event is fetched with the webhook. I save the user notification details, in this case on a simple Redis database, and then I send the notification. How to send the notification? So I have an FID, I have the title, I have the body, and then I have the user notification details. There's an endpoint, so the notification details include a URL and include a token. This is all I need to send them a notification. So you can send a custom notification on a broadcast way. So there's a new announcement that you want to make. Or maybe there's something happening in the app asynchronously. So on Farville, you plant some carrots. 15 minutes later, the carrots are ready to harvest. You send a notification to the user. So you can also be very you can also customize them a lot. You can run scheduled job like sending a notification every day, or you can send a notification or trigger a notification according to some events happening in the mini app. So let's say somebody, some of my friends win a game on the mini app. I want to notify all the users that are on the mini app that there's a new king of the leaderboard, let's say. And this is all again built in the template. So you just need to adapt it to your use case. And I guess that's it. I mean, it was like a quick overview, but you can deep dive in all these files.
Hi. Please, there's a last question.
Okay.
Yeah. Please, do you have a link or resource that can guide someone step by step on how to build on Farcaster mini apps from scratch, like someone who is totally a beginner?
Yeah, I think this is the best one, the one that I shared right now. Like you can get started from there, and even Neinar has a bunch of tutorials. Let me see if create a mini app in 60 seconds with Neinar. And then there's the starter that I was just showing. So that's the best I can suggest you.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Is there any other question before closing the session?
I think that's all with the questions.
Okay.
Yes, I think yeah, people have questions. I think they will have your socials and maybe they will ping you there. But sorry for the thank you so much, Limone, for your time. It was a good
No
overview,
problem.
and yes, and sorry for the inconvenience, but it was very insightful. Thank you so much.
Yeah, that was an
Yeah, for
amazing
sure.
session. Thank you very much. Thank you everyone who
Thank you.
joined. Thank you. Okay, bye.
Bye, everybody. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye. Thank you again.
Bye.